So in today's video, I'm going to talk you through the role and the importance of what we call external rotation of the shoulder joint, which is quite literally the ability to turn and rotate through the shoulder joint. We're going to look at why that's important in the golf swing, and I'm also going to give you some drills to work on to help you to improve that if you find that your external rotation is limited in either your right or your left-hand side. So if we start off, first of all, if you're a right-handed golfer, the importance of external rotation in the shoulder joint really comes from, on the backswing, being able to get up to the top of your backswing. You need to be able to create external rotation to get the club to the right sort of height or the width that you're looking for. So effectively, you're creating this movement here in order to be able to get that club towards the top of the backswing. If you struggle to create external rotation, the chances are that your backswing or your takeaway is going to be limited, and it's either going to be shorter, or you're going to find that because you can't physically rotate and externally rotate to the top, you might find that your body actually comes out of position. So you might lose your posture, you might stand up, you could very easily early extend in order to try and create that position artificially. So the way that we test this movement to start off with is quite simply standing sideways on like this. I'm going to bring my elbow out towards the side. I'm going to work on trying to rotate from my shoulder. You can see there that that line of my forearm is past my ear. So I've got daylight between my ear and my forearm, and that's all coming from external rotation. I'm not trying to lean back through my upper body and create it artificially. If I do the same on this side, again, I should be able to create the forearm position just past my ear, and there's almost daylight between my forearm and my head there as well. And you can see it's coming from the shoulder. Again, I'm not trying to overextend and create movement from elsewhere. So it's important that you're creating the movement from the shoulder to start off with. If you find that you do this assessment and you can't quite get to 90 degrees, or you're further forwards, or you feel like you're trying to arch to create it, then the three-step process that's going to be really beneficial to helping you improve your mobility and gain that extra rotation of the shoulder starts off with what we call foam rolling, or soft tissue work. Now, the way that we're going to do this is we're going to start off by using a baseball. If you've got a tennis ball, that could work quite nicely. This baseball is a slightly soft compression, so it's just not quite as aggressive as a normal baseball. And in order to use this, I'm going to use the wall behind me as well. And I'm going to put the ball up against the wall. I'm going to try and get it into the outside of my shoulder blade. Okay, so I'm going to place the ball up against the wall. I'm going to position it so it's into the back of that shoulder blade area. And then from here, what I'm going to do is try and roll around the muscles in that area and try and figure out if I can find any sort of tenderness, any tight spots. We call them trigger points. So I'm going to have a quick roll first of all. Straight away I can feel a little bit of tightness. It feels like pressure on the muscle around the back of that left shoulder. I'm going to bring my elbow up to this position here, and I'm just quite simply going to work on trying to go into those external rotations, using the wall as a bit of a feedback tool to get my position. I'm going to keep doing this until I feel like that tightness in the muscle starts to release off and get a little bit easier. So I'll probably do about maybe 1 to 2 minutes on this side, and then the same again on the other side as well. So you position the ball just off the side of the shoulder blade, go rolling around that area first of all, try and identify the areas where it feels tight or restricted. And again, I can get a little bit of restriction here, so I'm going to bring my right forearm out to the side and just try and work on those rotations through the shoulder. And again, I'm waiting until I feel like it starts to ease off and the restriction starts to ease and I can create some better movement. So that's step one in the process, and the idea is you're trying to get into the muscle tissue. If it's tight and it's restricted, you've got to try and free it off first of all, and that's what the baseball will do. The second step is that you want to try and work on the mobility, so you want to try and regain the ability to externally rotate the shoulders. So we're going to use the wall for this drill. You could also do this on the floor as well, but we'll use the wall first of all. I'm going to set myself up. So I'm just softening my knees and sitting up against the wall. I'm going to put my hips and my shoulders right up against the wall. I'm going to try and get my elbows back against the wall as well. So I'm using that wall as a bit of a feedback position From here I'm going to externally rotate both shoulders, open up through the chest and then draw back down, okay? You'll notice that I make a fist here as well. So the idea is that what I don't want is I don't want to get to the top and then try and use the wrist to create extra rotation, because we purely want to look at the shoulder joint. So if you create a fist here first of all, and then just work on trying to open up and rotate through the shoulders, you'll feel if there's a difference. I can get both my forearms back to the wall, but if you've got restriction, you might feel like you can't get there. You might also feel like your lower back and your hips try and push away from the wall. That's a clear sign of restriction. If you can't create a rotation through the shoulder, the hips are going to try and slide off to create extra rotation for you. So we start off with the rolling first of all. We do 1 to 2 minutes on each side. We then do your external rotations up against the wall. Probably want to do maybe 15 to 20 repetitions at a really smooth tempo. And then the final step in the process is, in order to create better stability through your shoulder blades, and it's your shoulder blades that will help you to get the right position to create that external rotation, we need to strengthen the muscles that are actually going to hold your shoulder blades in a better position. So the muscles that we're looking to get into are what we call the rhomboids. They sit between the shoulder blades like this, and they come across into the spine. So the best way, or the simplest way to try and strengthen them, is to use a power band. Now again, if you don't have a power band, I'm going to give you a bodyweight version that you can do, but this is a great piece of kit to have, just a little bit of elastic tubing. We do pull-aparts this time, so if I go sideways on, I set my position, so I just soften my knees to get into it. I'm going to have my arms out in front of me. I'm going to have my hands just a fraction under my shoulders, and my hands are going to be just outside shoulder width. From here, I'm going to try and pull that band apart as wide as I can. In this position here, I'm trying to squeeze my shoulder blades together. So I open my chest up, squeeze my shoulder blades together, and then control that resistance back into the centre. So open up nice and wide, open up the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades, control it back in. Now on this one, if you've got too much resistance, you'll quite often see this sort of extension through the spine. And again, we don't want that because we're not then able to dial into those rhomboids. So you can go to one strap, make it a little bit easier. Try and hold your posture as you open up and then control back in. You should then feel the back of the shoulder blades really start to fire up. 15 to 20 repetitions is perfect for this one. If you don't have a band, then the version that I'd recommend is we use the floor, and we call this one a floor cobra. So the way that this one would work is you go lay onto your front. You want to try and tuck your chin under, bring your forehead down towards the floor, let the palms of the hands sit onto the floor like this. You're going to try and open up the chest, open up the shoulders, rotate your thumbs up towards the ceiling, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and then control it back down and through. So we lift up, rotate through the shoulder, thumbs up towards the ceiling, squeeze the shoulder blades, control it back down and through. And for that one again, 15 to 20 repetitions. Just watch that you don't try and push up too high, because you will start to use your lower back if you try and extend up too high. But that's a 3-step tutorial that's going to help you to improve your external rotation, get into a better position at the top of your backswing, and hopefully help you to hold your posture throughout the golf swing more effectively as well.